Sorry, I'm just going to start the show with talking a bit Swedish with Patrick and just to announce what's happening. Patrik.
Ja, Martin.
Idag är det en dröm som har gått i uppfyllelse.
Idag igen?
Vi har casual preppers med oss idag. Så jag tänkte vi skulle hoppa in och snacka med dem nu på en gång.
Det låter bra.
Jag
är redo.
Är du på?
Jag är redo.
Hello guys and a warm welcome to our show.
What's up, Patrick? What's up, Martin? How are things?
It's great.
It's great. Looking forward to this.
So, yeah, we really are looking forward to it. So it's Friday for the listeners, even if you listen to this on a Thursday. And right now we're in the evening in Sweden, and you guys, you just had lunch.
We did, yeah. We're ready to go, man. We're energized. Yeah. We're full of food, ready to rock.
That's great. Don't fall asleep.
We'll do our best. No promises.
A funny thing, you're guests of the show called, let's see if you can pronounce this, vardagsprepping. Can you say that?
Vardagsprepping.
Yeah.
That's good.
Is that close?
Yes, very close.
Yeah, very close.
Nice.
Good. So that's actually, if you try to translate that into English, you would have vardag is the days before the weekend. So it's the Monday to Friday. So we call it every day. And prepping, you know prepping.
Yes, yeah. Somewhat familiar with that.
Yeah. And we see a similarity to casual prepping because that's also a bit like, everyday prepping. But so can you tell us how you came up with a name for your show, Casual Prepping? Is it casual like being a bit relaxed, or is it the everyday prepping that you mean?
Yes, to both of those, I think. Yeah. When Cam and I kind of got into prepping a little bit more, we kind of met each other. We wanted to find some podcasts and maybe even some YouTube channels on prepping that sort of fit the way we looked at prepping, which was we don't need it to take over our lives. We don't need to necessarily be prepping for nuclear Armageddon all the time, right? But there's a lot of things that you can do to just be more prepared for the everyday stuff, like you guys said, and also to be a little bit more open-minded when it comes to different prepping topics. Like, you don't have to be straight gun preppers. It's not just about ammo. It's not just about your bunker. It's not just about your food or whatever. Just, it is whatever it needs to be to you. And so that's kind of where we came up with casual prepping, right, Cam?
Yeah.
I remember when
Patrick,
we were...
I would say...
Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I remember when we were sharing words. Remember we texted, and I think it auto-corrected to casual peeping. And I'm like, that would be a whole different kind of podcast.
Yeah.
Very, very different, yes.
Just walking by, and casually just peeping.
Yeah, just casual peepers. But yeah.
Tell us why you started your pod, and what's your mission with your pod?
Well, yeah, we so we originally what kind of got this all started was we were into video games of like survival video games. Not that we played them all the time, but that was kind of the type of game we liked. We started a bit with a podcast about gaming, and we're like, this isn't really going where we wanted, and it wasn't really at the topics that we really wanted to talk about. And we're like, well, let's do a podcast and let's talk about prepping for everyday like life stuff, and how do we do it that we don't, look like the crazy preppers like everybody else. So we just kind of just went from that, like shared interests, and Coby was he had already done production with music and stuff like that, so he had equipment, and that's kind of what we did. We're like, let's just get together and BS about prepping and see how fun it is.
Yeah, and I think as far as like the mission goes, again, we wanted to make a place where kind of everybody could come and learn about prepping and talk about prepping and kind of be involved with it. Because a lot of times you go to some of these super hardcore preppers, either on YouTube or podcasts, and they're pretty rigid and they're pretty set in their ways, and sometimes they're not very open to people that don't understand some of the things that they understand. And we wanted a place where like we didn't care who you were, how you prepped, what you thought about it. Just come and talk about it. Come have fun.
And enjoy it ourselves.
Yeah, and we wanted to enjoy it, and we wanted to learn as we went, because we weren't experts. We still aren't experts. It's more of just like, we're really great at kind of going out, finding the information, bringing it back to you, and hopefully giving it to you in a way that you can digest it and be maybe a little bit entertained as you go, and that everybody can kind of come along and be part of the show and not feel kind of left out or on the outside, you know.
It's so strange because it sounds exactly like our pod.
That's awesome.
Yes.
So we're
there needs to be more of those. Like, there's a lot of the hardcore.
I agree.
You don't feel like you fit in, and so.
Yeah, but so I think you like this. This is a bad translation, but you get your energy from your listeners and questions as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we even have a monthly episode that's just called the Q&A episode, where everybody just sends in questions and we just hang out for an hour and answer all the stupid crap they send us.
We've gotten a lot of ideas from that to like, go into more detail on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, they're a big part of the show for sure.
Yeah, and the same for us. We're so happy that people actually, take the time to give feedback or just ask questions, and that also talks about a lot about you hitting the right targets, target groups, if you may, because the bunker preppers and the crazy preppers, they don't send us emails because they're already prepared.
Yeah.
That's so awesome to hear. But tell us about your friendship, because you weren't always friends.
No.
Or am I right?
No, we used to be mortal enemies back in the day.
Yeah.
We didn't know each other until about 2000. When did you move in?
12 or 13.
2012 or so. Cam just happened to move in across the street from me. So weird. And then we just kind of got to know each other. Like you said, we played some video games.
Yeah. And from there, like our upbringing kind of similar, from Utah. Like our families, did a lot of the outdoor stuff. And so I think we just had a lot to relate to. And then that's where we just kind of built on that. And, our families stored and prepped. And so it was like, things just kind of, I don't know. When you move into a neighborhood and you're like, man, I live around a lot of weirdos. And I still live around a lot of weirdos. But but Coby and I don't know, we just clicked, and our wives got, they were friends, and that's always rare to have friends on both sides of the it's like, it worked out. So
it sounds good. So
did you start so you said you were always a bit of the prepared side, or did you the prepping, did you start that at the same time, or was it just like an escalation of madness when you met?
I don't think at this level I was
no
never this detailed level of prepping.
No, absolutely not. There was always a little bit of that going on. But I think the more that we started talking about that kind of stuff, we were super interested in the gear as well. I mean, for me, man, prepping, the gear is so much fun, and I don't care what anyone says. Like, I know skills are awesome, and I know you need to learn them, and I know that's super important, but why not have fun while you're doing it too? And the gear, like knives and backpacks and all this crazy fire starting stuff, it is so much fun. And we both kind of really connected to that. And so there's always a vein of that in everything that we do, is, playing with all that new gear and showing off the new stuff to our listeners. So I think that was a big thing that kind of pulled us into it too, was let's do this. Let's get deeper into this stuff.
Yeah.
But there was always a little bit of that we were doing. Our families kind of always did that. Cam's family grew up on a dairy farm, so they were super self-sufficient, My dad's been a hunter his whole life, and so I've done a little bit of that. And I don't know, it kind of just at one point we decided let's go deeper into the madness, like you said, Yeah,
I think the shared learning is kind of what we were doing, and we're like, let's just do it along with other people, and that's kind of how it's been.
Yeah.
And we see the same thing when we publish a video on YouTube, when it's about like whenever we do a review of something, that always gets more views than me talking. Of course.
Of course, yeah. People love the gear, man. Yeah, they love it. and for good reason. It's fun.
Yeah, they have some awesome stuff. It's like that you never would have known existed.
That's right. I mean, paracords with fire starting stuff inside of
like that. I would have never known. It's like, I've got shoelace, and I guess I could do stuff with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now they have, a lot better stuff.
There are many different pods about prepping in the US. Why do you think you are in the very top of some of the top lists?
I think people are crazy, man.
Top, right?
That is a super good question. I don't really know.
I honestly don't know how we even fall close to that.
Yeah, it still blows my mind every time we put out an episode. People are still downloading it. I'm like, what are these idiots doing?
It must be auto downloads because somebody forgot to turn it off. And it's like, oh crap, I got another one of their episodes.
Yeah. But to be honest, I think there's been a couple of things that have really worked in our favor. We've always really tried from the very beginning to be real with everything. It's like, we aren't experts.
Yeah.
We're like normal everyday dudes that we have a 9-to-5 job. We like to talk about this stuff. We like to be as prepared as we can for our families and all that kind of stuff. So I think that connects with people. Also, we've been super consistent, man. We've been putting out an episode for the past 5 years every week. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so I think the consistency has helped it catch on. And the last thing is I think it's because it's half entertainment and it's half information. You know, it's we're just having fun. Like, really, we don't go into it with any other agenda than we're going to give him this little bit of information that we've come out with, and we're going to have fun as we do it, and that's it.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it connects.
Like, people feel like they're hanging out with their friends, just talking about. And that's what we wanted to. It wanted to be like you're just hanging out with your buddies, talking about some gear and stuff that you're interested in, and that's, I kind of think, how the podcast just kept going for that reason.
Yeah, and we're obviously not professionals. I mean, it's so obvious as soon as you start listening. I mean, we're idiots, but we just have fun with it, and I think people just connect with that, the fact that we don't care. We don't do any editing. It's, we hit record, it goes, we hit stop, and we send it out, and that's it. So
my terrible pronunciation is not planned.
No, it's all, I mean, obviously I do some boosting and some stuff at the end, but nothing gets edited. It's completely live.
Wow.
Yeah.
We have some work to do.
It doesn't work for everybody. It really doesn't.
Yeah, I have some more work to do.
You want it perfect.
Yeah, I want. Well,
it's good to see that you guys are that way, because Coby does 95% of the work on the podcast, and I'm like, I'll just show up and talk for a bit, and then thanks, see you.
It works.
You're a good team.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, you really are a good team, and I think that plays a important part. You disappeared. Are you still here?
Why that disappeared? There it is.
We're still here. I don't know why.
There you are.
Changed angle?
Something happened.
Well, we're still here. We'll figure it out. Sorry about that.
Good.
I'm sure Windows is updating and shut down.
Oh, you're much closer now.
Are we?
Yeah, that's what I was like. It zoomed us in.
I think it switched cameras for some reason.
Yeah,
I don't know
I think
why.
you're on
this
the
is the
laptop
one
camera.
on the.
But no,
yeah,
don't worry.
We did.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Good.
As long as we hear your beautiful voices.
Oh, sensual.
Now, what I wanted to talk about is again. I'm sorry for being backpacky but it's the same thing for our show or I started this a couple of years ago, blogging, being a complete noob with no experience in prepping at all, and just pouring out my thoughts and pouring out things I learned. And what I found is that even the hardcore preppers really like that, because they can go, back to, what was I thinking at that time, and what did I do, and maybe find out something that, oh shit, I forgot about that. So I think that's a good, what do you call it? It's a good way to have a show, to just admit that, hey, we're not the experts. There are other experts, but come here and have fun with us instead.
Yeah,
and
totally
something.
agree.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Absolutely.
All right, because you are number one in a couple of, I think the trueprepper.com listed you as the #1 podcast for prepping.
Yeah, Cam runs that site.
I was going to say, it sounds like a site somebody here in town runs.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened, really.
These are the only guys I know. #1.
But congratulations. I mean, you deserve
Thanks,
it because it's very entertaining to listen to you.
Thank you.
Thanks, yeah.
And talking about that, in your pod, you have 2 different types of episodes. You have the mindless banter and the ordinary show. So tell us a bit about why did you do the 2 different takes?
I think mainly it was just to do the podcast more.
Yeah.
Like we just wanted to come and do it every week because it's like a highlight of our week for one. And then, I don't know, we kind of had interests in the conspiracy theories because people, you know, nowadays, especially, it's just going crazy with nobody believes anybody anymore.
Well, and I think that sometimes prepping and conspiracy goes a little bit hand in hand for, you know, a lot of preppers. For some reason, it's
the government's out to get you.
Yeah. And for us, it was just another, it was another way that we could get together, but kind of just let loose a little bit. And, you know, we're not always talking about, well, if there's a power outage, there's this, you know, if you're doing this, there's this. It was more of like, let's just have fun.
And some crazy stuff to talk about that's fun. Yeah,
exactly. And, the audience seems to connect with it, man. They like the conspiracy stuff and the wild. I mean, what else do we talk about? Aliens and
I don't know.
Bigfoot.
It's a Bigfoot. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Bigfoot.
is a big deal. Yeah.
It's a blast, man. It's another just thing that we're interested in, and I think there was just enough crossover with the prepping community that it made sense. You know,
maybe.
Totally agree.
Maybe. Yeah.
What was that? I used to listen to your show when going to training with my son, and I what was that called? The rain that when you do the Chinese voices.
Purple rain.
Titan rain.
Oh, Titan rain. That's what it was.
Titan rain. Yeah.
And even he wasn't.
Tile rain.
Yeah. He didn't like. I mean, he doesn't listen to podcasts, but he had a blast listening to you guys with that. Yeah. And he couldn't stop laughing because of your funny voices.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we try and steer clear of the Chinese accents. For some reason, that's the one we always get in trouble for.
We get in trouble on that one.
Nobody cares if we do a Russian accent.
Or rednecks.
Or
they
redneck.
don't ever get offended.
As soon as you go to the Chinese, you just got to be careful. But yeah, Titan Rain, that was great stuff. That was fun.
It was a highlight.
If our listeners should start to listen to your pod, which we recommend.
Yes. Sorry.
Which of all your episodes do you think is the best one?
Oh man.
Like to start with,
yes,
basically.
To start with.
Is that what you're saying?
Don't start #1.
Yeah, definitely don't start.
Maybe
there.
go back and listen to those because we had no clue what we were doing for like 100 episodes. We just really started to figure
it was about 50 episodes before we kind of caught our stride. But that's a really good question. I think there's a few that stand out to me that I thought were really good, especially if it's kind of like the first go. I think I can't remember. It was in the 60s. There was an episode called Your Personal Apocalypse.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorites that I think we've ever done. We probably need to go back and do that one again because it's been probably 4 years since we've done it.
Crazy.
But we talk a lot about, the things that are going to happen to you personally that are the things that you really should be prepping for. I think that one was really important. And we've had some others, just like we did one recently called Prepping 101. So it's just kind of like, hey, if you're going to get started into prepping, where do I start? What are the things I need to think about? What are the things I need to do? And I think those are always really good places to start.
Yeah. I probably because of the things I learned during it, like I loved the nuclear attack episode just because I didn't understand. I mean, I'm not saying I became a nuclear scientist or anything, but just like the things that I learned about that I'm like, man, I didn't realize, the fallout was the biggest issue and all that stuff. So just because I learned a lot and I'm like, it still is kind of a creepy threat that we all have to, think of a possibility. And that one was fun. And martial law was another one. Just that would be a really scary scenario of having the military control your life.
Sure. So. But do you do a lot of research before you do your shows?
Depends on the topic.
It does depend on the topic. I mean, at the beginning there was a lot more. Because we didn't know jack about jack. I mean, it was like we didn't know anything about any of it, and so it gets a little bit easier now as we go. Just because over the past 5 years, it feels like we've kind of accumulated enough knowledge that part of it is not quite as big of a deal. But I mean, it's still hours a week, probably.
It is,
depending on the episode, right? So yeah, there's still research for sure.
Yeah. Just to turn the tables, I don't know if you say it that way, but Patrick, I think our best episode is the 15,000 crown challenge. So it basically translating to US, it would be the $1,500 challenge. You should. I think you should try that. So. I'm sorry for messing up our questions now, Patrick. And
no problem at all.
Order, but
I'm lost. Where you going from?
But we did a challenge, me and Patrick, based on a book where in the book they had, I think, 48 hours. They knew that something really big was happening, probably CME or something like that, and they had 2 days to prepare. So we adjusted this scenario and said to ourselves, okay, we get the same information. Something is happening in 24 hours. And we can only go to these 3 stores. And we have $1,500 to get the things we need. And we don't know if the crisis or the event is like forever, or if it's just for a month or for a week. And then go. We just started to look online and adding to our shopping baskets and just measuring up. Okay, now I'm done. Patrick was done for 1,500, and then me. And then we discussed why and what we bought. And that was a really, don't you think? It was a wonderful, great episode. And yeah, so you should try that if you want an idea.
That sounds awesome. I'm guessing that was not in English. That you didn't do that
in
English. Dang it. I would love to listen to it.
No, that does sound really good.
Maybe I can listen and you guys can live translate or something.
Oh, yeah. It was just an hour.
Yeah, I would love to listen. That sounds like a fantastic idea. We did something similar at some point. It was called $100 for the apocalypse.
Yeah, just a basic one.
Yeah, so
not in the face of a scenario, but like.
Yeah, so we have $100. Something might be coming. What are you going to do with $100? So it was really limiting, you know. So I think that's a fantastic idea. Maybe we should do that.
I like that idea. How long did you guys take to like figure out your like list of items? You only gave yourself like 24 hours, or?
No, I mean the work for this, it actually progressed for me for a week. I think Patrick, you
I was going to say
like
that
30
would take
minutes.
quite a bit.
Something like that, 35 minutes, 40.
Yeah, I worked too much, so I needed to spread it out over a week. But it was quite interesting because we realized things ourselves. Like me, as an example, I said, yeah, I'm going to buy 20 buckets for storing water, but I never realized, can I even fit that in my car? Because 20, I think there were 10 liters.
Oh, yeah, even stacked.
How would I get that home?
Yeah,
right.
Even without water in it. It's so, yeah. So it actually started a process in our minds, which I think you tend to forget if you don't analyze
How
things.
much toilet paper did you both end up with? Was that ever an issue over there, like the United States?
Yes. Yeah, of course it was. Because we saw the news from the States, so everyone here also. Yeah,
you're welcome.
Thanks.
Screwed it up for everybody.
Totally.
Yeah,
no kidding.
That's so strange. I think we had an episode with a guy who actually had the statistics. What happened during the first months of, or during the entire pandemic of the first year?
Oh wow! Yeah,
and they said that. I think the 3 most things that almost went out of stock was toilet paper, hand sanitizer, and wine in boxes.
Makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah. So you really need to go to the toilet when you have corona.
Those are the 3 top essential items.
Yeah. So that's where you start your prepping.
Yeah.
Get your wine, your toilet paper, and your hand sanitizer.
It sounds like a great weekend.
Or you can make more hand sanitizer out of the
To be honest with you. Maybe a little hand sanitizer, a little toilet paper, glass of wine. I'm set for the week.
Your face and your hands are just red. I'm using the wine for my hand sanitizer.
Yep, exactly.
Making it smell better.
Yeah.
Patrick, I think is it your turn? I asked a lot of questions.
There seem to be a lot of tensions in the world right now. What are the biggest threats What's the biggest threats in the world right now from your perspective?
From my perspective, it's like I understand, we have not been in any type of world war or anything. This is the longest period of time that there has not been a huge war, and that terrifies me. It's like I know that everybody's kind of very cautious. There's a lot of superpowers, and it's that freaks me out the most, honestly, is that we've gone that long. Statistically, it's like, don't you feel like something should happen, and you hope it doesn't happen? That's probably the biggest threat in my opinion.
Yeah, I think these supply chain issues that we've been dealing with could end up being even more of a bigger problem moving forward. So that to me is one of the things that I feel like is on my mind more than others. But again, I don't know. I always kind of come back to those localized things that are actually probably going to happen. I mean, most of the time we're not in a war, right? Yeah, that could happen. But I'm still mostly worried about my car breaking down, losing my job, or some sort of a health issue, or the power going out. So those are the things for me that I'm usually worried about the most. Obviously, us doing what we do, we talk about things like Russia and China and all those crazy things that are happening, and those are issues. But to me, the biggest one that's kind of worldwide for me is supply chain stuff.
Mm. Yeah. I think we agree.
Good. Man, we're very agreeable today. I love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
And China.
Same podcast.
We got a hive mind thing going on. I love
it. Yeah, I think we covered this, but it would be great if you could just... I lost the words. If you could just... whatever. I'll just ask the question one more time.
Okay.
It sounds like you're having a lot of fun when you're recording. So, and you told us already, but how important is the humor, especially when you're talking about quite serious subjects?
I think it's huge because I think some of the jokes sometimes make you remember some of the core details that you would otherwise forget. Instead of sitting in, a class where you're just being flooded with all these details that you're not going to remember. I think the humor helps things stick and make light of things that, not necessarily they're not something to worry about, but you're just like, that's a funny way to think about it. And it helps me remember. So I think it's a huge part of our success is blending it all together.
Yeah, and I think it helps kind of soften the blow of some of those things to some people that don't really. I mean, it's hard for some people to talk about things that are that hard, right?
That are real.
Yeah, that are super real. And it's like, I don't want to think about that. I'm just going to go back to watching The Bachelorette, right? But maybe if we could make it a little bit entertaining, they could stick around long enough to get the gist of the idea and a little bit of information in a way that doesn't feel quite so threatening,
Once in a while, we will be called fearmongers, but we're just like, no, we just want to make it aware that you should be, aware of these things, but you don't,
Yeah, I'm sure you guys have, seen that too. People saying, well, you're drumming up people's fears about this type of stuff. And no, not exactly. You're actually kind of doing the opposite. For me, talking about it.
We want more people to be prepared thinking about these things.
Exactly. The more people that are prepared, the better off everybody is. And it's not trying to scare anybody. It's more just trying to get people informed about these things that a lot of people don't want to talk about because it's scary and it's sad or it's, anxiety inducing, whatever it is. But if we can, help soften the blow with a stupid accent or a really dumb joke, then I think that's probably good for, for some people. Some people hate it. I mean, 100%. Some people will listen to our show and say, "You guys are idiots. I will never listen to you again."
Yeah, all the time.
Like quite frequently, actually. So it's not for everybody, but for those people that it is for, I think it helps. To learn that way.
In the Swedish prepping community, we have a saying which says, "Don't be scared, be prepared." And
makes sense,
right?
right?
You're not scared when you are prepared.
Yeah.
I mean, all the preppers, when the lights go out, they're just like, "Yeah, I want to try out my gear."
So true,
these
right?
Lights.
Yeah. It's exciting. You're not running around like an idiot going, "What do I do? What do I do? I can't see. I can't do this. I can't do that." You're like, I get to try out this. I get to try out this. Let's go do it. Your kids are excited. All this kind of, it's fun.
Yeah. You're not running to the store buying like 16 cases of toilet paper because you don't know why you're doing it.
Yeah, it's exactly.
It just makes it a better scenario for everybody.
Yeah. And also I want to go into that subject with humor and serious things. For me personally, when going to, I've gone to a lot of funerals, but if I can grade them, the worst and to the best funerals I went to were the ones that we gathered afterwards and had a good time and laughed and talked about the good things we shared with this person who passed away. Those are the things I remember best, and I will never forget them. And that because that's humor and love and some serious things.
Yeah, I think that's my wife and I talked. I don't know if she's planning my funeral, but like we talk about how she's gone to funerals where it's kind of a mourning and sad, and then she's gone to ones where they just talk about the person's life and the things that they experienced in it, and she's like, those are so much better. There's they had a great life, and you talked about those good things. So like making it better that way. Like I think people remember it, and they're not as scared to kind of continue on doing the prepping.
And we actually we had a live event last Sunday, and we talked about we had I think a couple of guests from the prepping community, and we talked about prepping our kids and talking about prepping for kids. And one of the the definite a crisis that will occur for everyone is death. So we talked about how do we prepare our kids for death. And because that's, you're not coming out alive, so you better be prepared for that. Yeah. And we talked a lot about make sure you talk to your kids and have a good relationship with them. So when you're gone, they won't feel like, why didn't I do this? And why didn't I spend more time? And why didn't I? Because I think that's, that's the most basic prepping you can do.
It doesn't get any more basic than that. Yeah. No, that's awesome.
That's awesome to bring that in.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Patrick, why don't you? Oh, you get the high honors of the tormenting our guests.
Yes, we usually
did I? Yeah, sorry.
No, Martin,
Go ahead.
Okay, we usually.
No, I just. Okay, now you go. I'm shutting up.
Good.
Go upstairs and tell him. No, I'm just kidding.
We usually torment our guests with a scale of preparedness. It goes from 1 to 10, where 1 means that you are not prepared. You probably have some sodas or beer in your fridge, nothing more. And 4 means that you can easily sustain your family for more than a week. And 10 is you are totally off-grid and self-sufficient. What do you say about your own preparedness?
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's...
We don't want to hear a 1 from either of you.
Go ahead, Coby.
I don't even have any soda at that house right now. That's a really good question. I would probably have to say it's somewhere in the the 6-ish range. Maybe 7.
I was gonna say 7.
Yeah,
maybe 8. Honestly.
Wow, you're legit.
I think I've got enough that I've planned for my whole family. Mm-hmm. Water being the biggest struggle.
It's always
unless I lose, if everything dries up and there's no.
Yeah.
But I'd confidently say a 7, but close to an 8 for me.
Okay, I'm going to do a 6.5. Can I do 0.5s?
Yeah.
6.5.
Break the rules.
I'm being real, though. Like, again, we are casual preppers. We aren't like those guys that are like, every week we're buying this, buying that. I mean, it's hard to sustain, right? So we just do the best we can. I'm really prepared in the areas that I'm most worried about, right? In my vehicles, in my job, and in my health, and all of those things. I feel like I'm pretty set. But a CME hits or something. I'm obviously a step above the average everyday person, but I don't think I'm not going to be king of the apocalypse by any means.
Yeah.
And
seven for me.
So you just went down.
Yeah. I'm like,
I convinced him. Yeah. What about you guys? Where are you guys at?
I think I'm a 6. But that's the funny thing about this, but because it makes you think as well.
Yeah.
What
There's
am
a
I
lot of
prepared
other
for?
aspects. Yeah.
Where do I live? Because I live in the capital of Sweden, in the middle of the capital. So I can never be more than an 8. It's impossible.
Yeah.
Then I would have to have a bug out location somewhere, and I don't. But what about you, Patrick? Because you live somewhat in the countryside.
Yes, in the countryside, in a small village. Maybe in some parts 6, in some 8, 6.
Yeah, I think that's hard. You kind of do have to break it up into.
It's better to break it up in parts, but some 6 and some 8, maybe a 7 in something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, man, that is such a hard question to answer.
Really hard
but I think it's a great exercise, like you said. It gets you thinking, like, okay, where would I really be? You know, it's an honest assessment when, especially you got the cameras on, the lights on. Okay, you got to say it. Here it is.
Yeah,
6.5.
Yeah,
boom.
But I mean, as I said, it depends on what you actually are preparing for. If you're preparing for the end of the world, you can never be more than like 2.
Right. Luck.
Because we need to start over.
Yeah, exactly.
But the Swedish government tells everybody that you should be a 4. You should be prepared to sustain your family a week.
Yeah.
Don't you guys have like bunkers for the entire population over there or something?
Yes, somewhat, but they're kind of left behind and not taken care of, and most of them are actually. Well, I'm actually sitting almost in a bunker. I have those shelters below me, but that's for storage.
Are they World War II bunkers, or are they?
No,
like,
they were.
No, it's just
been
like
there from.
They were built in the Cold
Go
War.
ahead, Patrick.
Maybe in the 60s or 70s.
Oh, in the Cold War.
Yes.
That makes sense. That makes more sense.
And then we got
so it's
7.3 million places, something like that. And we are at 10 million people now. So a little bit behind. Not place for everybody.
Yeah.
So wasn't it Sweden? You guys recently had like changes in your preparedness, like from the government, wasn't there? Yeah, that was pretty recent too, wasn't it?
Yeah. So we actually did there was a proposal for the government to step it up, because we've been dismantling all of our defenses for a long time since after the Cold War, but now we're stepping up again. So it was February last year that this actually came, and is a direct. Our government is a bit coward, so they say it's a recommendation that you're supposed to make it for 10 days. But the military part of it says you need to be prepared for sustaining 10 days. So that's quite recent. But the problem is the communication to all the citizens, because I always say this, that we're like damaged by all the peace we've had. We've never been in a world war, or big wars. So, we just laid back. Nothing has happened. Why should anything happen now?
Yeah. we're the same way here.
Normalcy bias.
We're a part of every damn war there ever was. It seems like so. I don't know if that makes
somehow
a difference.
Get involved in everything.
But you
don't have any
but we
wars.
Still are like, meh.
You don't have any wars coming to you, right?
That's true. Yeah, that's
a long
true.
time. I think that was the Civil War the last time, right, or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We just start them.
And our last war was,
which is what we're trying to do anymore.
1814, with our neighbor Norway.
Yeah.
That's our last one.
1814. Wow.
Wow.
208 years.
You guys are a little rusty.
A little bit.
All right.
Yeah,
so
I hope we shatter records on peace and just stays that way forever.
Yeah, but with the leaders in the world right now, who knows?
Good luck.
Yeah,
they're all madmen.
Deal.
So we reached the end of our questions, but we actually sent out. I actually sent out a request on Twitter. I think yesterday. So I got 2 more questions from our listeners as well. If you may.
Cool.
So M. Bjorman is his Twitter handle. He says that he's been listening to you guys since you started, and he finds your show very entertaining. And he says that a big difference between Sweden and the United States is the weapon laws. And he says, I don't know if you guys are crazy about weapons, but let's ask you something on that theme. So they often talk about EDC knives. Are you surprised that Swedes are not allowed to carry any weapons, not even a knife?
Wow, that is actually kind of surprising. You can't carry a knife at all?
No.
Wow.
Well,
I would feel naked without my knife.
No wonder you guys should up your defense now.
Wow. So
these citizens won't give us any flack. We'll just...
Wow.
So we can carry a knife if we are on our way to the woods, because there we can carry a knife in the woods.
That's crazy. So to work, you just take a loop through the woods and then go to
a loop through the
We're
woods.
always on the way to the woods.
You can
yeah, that's crazy, man. I
didn't know it was that.
Yeah.
Strict.
You can have a small
I would honestly
Victory knife knocks in your pocket.
Victorinox, yeah.
Oh, so you can't have one.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
But
that's
not
not bad. That's something at least, right? Wow. Yeah, that really is surprising to me. And
I mean, for the most part, that's what we can carry, every day. But you don't know what somebody has in their basement.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or in their car. Or in their...
This is what I carry every day, usually, this little Leatherman Skeletal.
Yeah,
but it does have a little knife on it, so I hope you guys don't get in trouble for having this on camera. But, I mean, this thing is tiny. But... I can't imagine not having this with me all the time. Like I said, I feel naked without it. So that would really change the way that you prep, I suppose.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, it's strange. And also, we can't even own a gun without being hunters, or what do you call that when you shoot for sports? What do you call that?
Sport shooting.
Sport shooting. Easy.
That's what I call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the only way we can get a license or a permit to have a weapon. But we can't carry it.
We're required to carry a gun everywhere we go, pretty much.
Yeah, of course. Because you're weapon crazy.
Can't go to Walmart and get your wine.
When you're born, you get your birth certificate and registration for a handgun.
Yeah, that's great.
And then we have the Mechanic 744 who asks, why don't you ask them about the ultimate prepper weapon? Prepper weapon. So, and what it means is, if you are in a bug out scenario, only could bring one thing that you should use for months or years. Which weapon, or a knife is a weapon, is your Swiss Army knife? Or maybe it is a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah.
That's wow.
I guess that's really hard. I guess if it's a weapon, I don't know. I'm still going with something like a multi-tool like this that has a knife, it has pliers, it has, bottle openers. It's got a bunch of different stuff. I'm probably going with something similar to this just because I feel like it gets a lot of different jobs done in a little small package. It's a lot like me, huh, Cameron?
Yeah. Exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah, that's what you were thinking.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, when I always go camping or to my family's cabin or we go in our camper or something, I always have like a kind of like a machete with me.
Jeez.
Just because, you can chop, you can, and it's quiet, firing a weapon is something that I've always I don't want to draw attention. And I probably don't trust myself with a gun all the time.
You don't think so?
And
plus you can eat with a
but
machete.
I like a machete. And I can eat with a machete.
Yeah.
Had a few pictures of that, huh?
He does it frequently.
I like him. I like a machete.
Okay.
Axe kind of like a hatchet anyway.
Axe, you said?
Well, just blended some words.
I see. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. That's a tough one.
Yeah,
there's a lot of different things. But
what about you guys? I want to hear your answers.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
see, now we're turning the tables.
So much weapons.
Patrick,
please
get their podcast.
Please start. So I can think.
Weapons at home or?
Yeah, for the bug out scenario.
Bug out, then the shit hit the fan.
Butter knife.
Then I have a lot of stuff.
You just get one.
Just one.
We tried one of my machetes, and that's a pretty nice bang. We chopped a pretty big stick in half. Just one blow with a machete. That's it.
Okay.
I like the machete.
And I'll probably use my Mora knife because I'm so used to it. I know exactly what I can do with it. So that's my trusty companion. So only one of us doesn't survive the zombie apocalypse, and that's Mr. Leatherman. Or maybe you can make something.
You don't know what this thing can do. Come on. Really?
How long is the blade?
I don't know. It's not the length of the blade, it's how you use the blade.
Yeah.
Okay? That's what my wife says anyways.
All right. No, we all survived the zombie apocalypse, of course.
Nice.
Yeah. Yep.
Do you have something you would like to tell our listeners? Something, whatever.
Oh, that's a good question. Well, keep listening to this podcast because these guys are really cool. I wish this was in English so I could listen more.
I do too.
Because to be honest with you, there's not a lot of prepper podcasts that I listen to. Almost never. And just because I have a really hard time connecting with a lot of the people that are doing it.
Yeah.
But you guys are awesome. And thank you so much for bringing us on because this has been a blast.
Yeah.
And we would love to come on anytime. Seriously. So much fun. But I don't know what else. What do you want to say to the listeners?
Not all Americans are the way they're portrayed on the media.
That's true.
There are some normal ones.
Yeah.
Oh.
We have the substitute for Vardags prepping in the US right here.
Yeah,
the substitute,
exactly.
I not like, substitute.
Yeah,
casual prepping subtitle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. It's been a really, well, as you said, a blast. We had so much fun, right, Patrick?
Absolutely. Yeah. The recordings are the highlight of the week. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Us too.
Yeah, for sure. We should do this again.
So let's try the funny part. We did this with another American podcast that you actually say our ending words.
Okay.
But you do it in Swedish.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Okay.
I'm ready.
So do you want to say it at the same time, or do you want to take turns?
Oh my gosh. I think we're going to have to take
go back
turns.
And forth.
Yeah, let's take turns.
Yeah, okay. Who wants to start?
I will start.
Okay. So it's 3 sentences, and I'll say the first one and take a pause, and you can say it.
Okay.
Okay. Are you ready?
Uh-huh.
Sköt om er.
That was it? Okay.
No, that's the first part.
Okay, say it again.
Sköt om er.
Sköt om er.
Preppa lugnt.
preppar lugnt.
Och glöm inte vattnet.
One more time.
Och glöm inte vattnet.
Glöm inte vattnet.
I don't even got
close, did I?
Good.
Was I close?
Very good.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
And what it meant is we're both douchebags. No, I'm just kidding.
I would hope that.
You should have done that, man.
No, we sköt om is just take care. Preppa lugnt is prep on.
Uh-huh.
And glöm inte vattnet is don't forget to prep the water.
Ah, very
That's
nice.
awesome.
That's cool.
You did very well.
Oh,
And now you
man.
can speak Swedish.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't need our
we eat your
podcast to
fish
be-
all the time, so.
I feel like that's one thing with the United States is like we just like it's amazing to me how well like you guys speak perfect English and we don't ever learn any language. You know?
No, it's
But you
it's
know,
unfortunate.
you know both English and American, right?
That's right. Yeah. We do. Right.
A little
You-
Chinese, some Russian. We
And
speak
you
some
do.
Russian.
You know Australian as well. So I mean, you know 3 languages.
Yeah, that's true. Kind of. We've been called out on not doing that very well.
Yeah. Not really.
Sound like weird Australians. Yeah.
Yeah. But again, I'm sorry for dragging this out, but
No,
a
it's
true honor
awesome. We
to have you here.
Thank you.
Oh, thank
very
you
much.
so much. This is a blast.
really, yeah.
Yeah,
And keep in touch, guys. You know, you got something cool coming up, let us know. You know,
we will.
Absolutely.
let people
Yeah,
know about it.
Yeah, for sure.
So if I'll say hej då to our listeners, and you can say bye bye as well.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Yeah.
Hej då.
All right. See ya.
See you guys.